Well, hi, and welcome to day 10. We're going to break down what we call the Billionaire in Training ladder. Now, it's called that because I wrote a book, Billionaire in Training, which really went through the path of how you create wealth through business, how you build a business that becomes an asset. Now, it starts out, let me take you to the bottom rung of the ladder. The bottom rung of the ladder is when you're a student, okay? In school, in college, high school, whatever it is, you're still an entrepreneur at some level. Now, we call that level -1 because it costs money to go to school. But somewhere you're training. Now, you're training to either be an employee or you're training to be an employer. Majority of school teaches you to be an employee. It doesn't actually teach you to build a business. Now, some of the college courses, obviously, and some high school does teach you some of the skills needed to be an employer and run your own business. But from level -1, you generally step up to level 0, and that's the employee. Okay, so whereas level -1 cost money, either your parents or society, someone had to pay for the schooling system, or you paid for it yourself. Level 0 is where you start paying taxes and pay back some of that cost of having the schooling. But what you're learning at level 0, if you're doing it right as an employee, is you're doing an apprenticeship to your own business. Most people, unfortunately, get a particular job and stay with it for their entire lifetime. So they become an engineer and they're an engineer for the rest of their life. And they don't get 30 years business experience. They get 1 year's business experience. They just do it 30 times in a row, sort of thing. When you go into business for yourself, you realize that there's a broad spectrum of skills and things that you need to be good at. And so I always say it's better to learn that when someone's paying you to learn it. Like if you could get a job in sales and someone paid you to learn sales, fantastic. A job in marketing or in finance and people were paying you to learn this, it's setting you up for success when you go into business for yourself. So -1 is the employee level. Sorry, -1 is the student. Level 0 is the employee. Well, level 1 is self-employed. Now, a lot of people today do self-employed as sort of a side gig, a side hustle. Maybe it's a part-time thing. But the self-employed level is where it's just you. You're a solopreneur, and it's a phenomenal level. I loved that level when I first started out. I thought this was great. I did a lot of side gigs when I was in college, started doing that. I had my first small business sort of things, doing DJing and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, I'm doing my own thing. What I was doing is I was learning. See, it's self-employed. There are a lot of things you've got to learn, especially if you didn't learn them when you work for someone else. You've got to learn sales. You've got to learn lead generation or marketing. You've got to learn purchasing. You've got to learn contracts, negotiation, all of the things that you have to learn to be a self-employed person. And it's sort of like at self-employed, I remember it feeling like a seesaw type thing, find the work, do the work, make the sale, do the work, make the sale, do the work, make the sale, do the work. And it was like, no wonder I was tired. I was running back and forth type thing because I had all the hats. I did everything. I was the cleanup guy and I was the number one boss. I was the CEO and I did everything. So solopreneur is a lot of learning. And we'll get more into that tomorrow at self-employed. Then we go to the next level, the manager, okay? And this is where you start to hire people. And in the beginning, again, most of us make mistakes at hiring people. We don't know how to hire the right people, and we make mistakes. And unfortunately, we probably stick with them a little too long, some of those mistakes that we made. And in the beginning, though, it feels like, and probably is, you working for them. Like you're working longer hours just to make enough money to pay their wages. As you get the knowledge of the things you got to learn. See, seesaw of self-employed, merry-go-round of manager level, meaning, how do I put this politely? Well, you're cleaning up the mistakes that they make. You're running round and round in circles, putting out fires, they start. And a lot of the time you feel like, I should probably just fire all of them and go back to when it was just me. It'd be simpler and easier type thing. And in a lot of cases, that is what happens to a lot of businesses. But what we're looking at here is, again, what do you need to learn? At the manager level, There's emotional things you have to learn, like letting go, allowing to trust others, all of those sorts of things. There's financial things you have to learn, like moving from it being just you that you have to pay to now making wages, to paying bills. You have to move to a profit account, taxation. There's day-to-day things like management, recruiting, leadership, systemization, planning, budgeting, cash flowing, all of these sort of things that you have to learn. Again, if you didn't learn them running someone else's business or working for someone else, you got to learn them on your own. But then you also have to learn the emotional part of doing it in your own business. I was chatting with a gentleman recently, and he ran a very large company. And when he was in that large company, because it wasn't his own money, if there was $1 million project, he just cut the check. Now in his own business, there was like $1,000 for advertising, and he was like, what should I do? Because there was an emotional connection when it's your own money and your own business that's different to when you're running someone else's business. So we go through those stages: employee, then we go to self-employed, manager. And then what we want to do is get to the stage called owner, where as we've mentioned earlier, you build a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you. Again, there's emotional shifts of letting go, different things, different financial structures, all of this sort of thing. And I'll go into details over the next few days as to what it is that you've got to learn at those levels. But from owner, once it's running without you and making a profit, then what you've got to learn is how to invest that profit. So you're making a profit, we've got to learn how to invest. And whether that's investing in other businesses or real estate or in the stock market, but you've got to learn to invest the money that you're making. And then that's the level for the investor. And then ultimately, the top level is that of entrepreneur. And the level of entrepreneur is where now other people invest in you. See, as an investor, you're using your money to buy assets, whereas an entrepreneur, other people are buying assets from you. They're investing in, maybe you built a franchise and they're buying the franchise from you. Maybe you did a real estate development, they're investing in real estate development with you. So it's moving you through those growth layers, and specifically the self-employed, manager, owner levels, so that those learnings and that emotional growth and that knowledge growth that you need in order to keep growing gets the business to keep growing. So as you grow, the business grows, type thing. Really cool way of watching your progress while the business gets progress. And as its profits grow, your capabilities and your ability to run a bigger company and a bigger organization grow. So again, as I say every day, if you haven't reached out yet, please do so. Jump on the phone or reach out, find a coach near you and jump on a Zoom call, or just fill in one of the questionnaires and we'll reach out back to you and schedule a time for us to get started on your coaching or training journey. Whatever your budget, we've got a program to suit it, starting from as little as 99 and right up to hundreds of thousands or millions for the very big companies out there that want to be on our unlimited coaching and training programs.